Hey guys, welcome back to According To. I'm Megan.
And I'm Ciera, and for this week's episode, just like we typically do after some sort of vacation or excursion, Megan and I will be doing a little recap episode for you guys. So we did vlog this trip. If you want to see some of the things that we're talking about, then obviously go and watch that. But it's fun
Follow
to
our
kind
Instagram.
of... True.
I be posting up. I never post more than when I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
It always is true.
And on Megan's last post, because you posted like 4 times.
One was a reel, and it was purposefully like I needed a spacer, so I needed a filler image.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not usually like
You're not like a post and
real
archive
poster.
Oh, I meant like for
I
some people do like a
I
post
could have
and
done
archive.
an archive actually, but I didn't.
I prefer a reel because like then you're actually like adding something to your content. I know some people like don't care to watch reels, but like I don't mind
I
that.
actually should keep that in mind because I'm not against an archive and post. I've done that before.
One time
For a filler. I just said before.
So I think on your last post I was like, she's signing off until July, you guys.
We'll see. But realistically, yeah.
I do try. Like I always love the idea of like, oh, I would love to get an Instagram photo.
I always unintentionally go dark in the winter until I post again. Like all of my last Instagram posts have been like we went to Taylor Swift or like I was on vacation.
Which it's funny, like obviously we're talking about Instagram stuff and we like care, obviously, like it wouldn't take this much not effort, but like
I could get
forethought.
good photos in and around just like with my daily life. I just like it just kind of falls to the wayside.
Mm-hmm. Or like you know how people used to like, and we used to do this too. You'd like go take Instagram
Yeah,
photos.
and it's like I don't want to do that anymore. That's not really
like, we're
like,
above
the
that.
life.
Like, I mean, I say that with like a asterisk. I'm like, I take Instagram photos like on vacation. Like I'm purposely trying to get a
But
photo.
we're not going out and doing like an outing where we're like, okay, we're bringing
Parking
outfit
garage.
changes. Let's go to parking garage. And like you're kind of just doing something to get photos. I think there are things in my life, especially with the G7X, like the G7X can really
make anything look
elevate
good.
a situation. It just is like, I kind of just don't always care the most. Like I haven't cared to really post. Sometimes I used to, this happened a lot more in the past, but I really used to be like, I really want to post on Instagram. I just don't really get that feeling anymore. I love posting on vacation, but
I do still like Instagram. Like I like how my Instagram feed looks. I like to curate a specific look on Instagram, but I mean, I'd be going months without posting. So,
and Instagram stories too. Like I just can't. I like Instagram stories. I like seeing what other people post on stories, but like it is just like
Except
too
for-
much.
don't be posting those like chainmail type stuff. I hate
Like
those.
tap in stuff. Ciera hates that. I like I just can't think and have forethought to like post stuff on my stories.
I used to do my book
usually
updates.
empty.
I don't do them
You would
anymore.
have a lot to post about now.
I feel like I've let it fall to the wayside enough where I'm like, well, I would either have to like go back and do like the last 50 books that I read. Not actually.
What you
or
could just
just start
do
now.
is say, I'm picking this back up. Here's my Goodreads if you want to recap previous stuff. And then you're also promoting that.
I could. Again, this is me getting in my head of like, do people really care? And I'm like, it's a story. Like, you follow me because you want to see what I post. Like, I'm sorry if I'm bothering you.
Otherwise, you'll unfollow me. And every
And
time
they
I
will.
post, yeah, they will.
Okay.
Anyways, where were we going with this?
Oh, how we never post on Instagram except for when we're on vacation, which is what we're recapping. Also, so we have the vlog up. We have another Costa Rica vlog kind of coming where it's like how much we read on vacation. So, and we also, this will be our little book update too,
Sure.
I guess. Since our spotlight's obviously our vacation. Book update. When I last spoke to you guys, I was reading...
We've done, like, wow, what an update we're going to have.
Right? I was reading Phantasma. I finished that in... why is my throat, like, closing up? I finished it in Minneapolis as we were heading to the airport. Not, like, to the airport, but, like, at the hotels when I finished it. And I gave it 4 stars. I liked it. I didn't quite get the hype that Megan had, like, built it up to have. Like, it's very similar to... I feel like a lot of romantic books. Like, it didn't stick out to me necessarily. But it was good. And then I read Home is Where the Bodies Are by Ginny
I always
Burroughs.
want to keep saying home is where the dead bodies are. I keep wanting to say that every time I say that book title.
A short and sweet book. It's like 250 pages. It was our in-person book club book, and I gave it 4 stars. I read that just like on our full travel day from Minneapolis to Costa Rica. And then I read The Will of the Many, and that took me the rest of the trip to read. And I gave that one 4 stars. I give all these books 4 stars. And now I'm currently reading The Gilded Cage, second book in the Prison Healer series.
I didn't give any of those books 5 stars, did I?
Prison Healer?
Yeah. I think I gave like one of them 4.5. I think I gave the second one 4.5. I finished reading Two Twisted Crowns. I gave it 4 stars. And then I read Home is Where the Bodies Are. I gave that one 3.5. It was okay, but to be honest, like it got to a point where like I was pretty sure I had guessed the twist that was going to be coming. So then, like, rather than kind of enjoying the book as it was just meant to be enjoyed, I felt like the entire time I was just like
this tracks
waiting for it to tell me I was right. And I figured it out like a third of the way through the book. So then, like, I literally had to use like the audiobook to really finish it up on Spotify because I was just getting tired of reading the book. So I should rate it lower, but I didn't. Then I read Don't Believe It by Charlie Donnelly. I gave that one 4 stars. Kind of honestly, like, gave me similar vibes to like an Ellen Hildebrand book, just in the sense of like the setting was like there was a crime that took place on vacation, like on a tropical island, and it was going back and forth, and Trouble in Paradise kind of did that as well. And then I read Enchantra, which is the second book in After Phantasma. The series is called the Wicked Games series. I gave that one 4 stars. Then I read Abby Jimenez, Say You'll Remember Me. I gave that one also 4 stars. At first, I was kind of thinking I was like maybe going to rate it higher because I was really invested in the book. I read it pretty quick. But then I kind of like settled back down a little bit, and I was like, okay, we're just going to stick with 4 stars because
I'm glad you liked it, though. You said a lot of people were having kind of mixed reviews. This is our podcast book club.
Virtual book club. By the way. Lots of discussion has been going on. Like, this is the most we've had people discussing, like, chapter to chapter. So I feel like I'm enjoying seeing that as well. And I keep going back to, I finished the book already, but I like to circle back and see if anyone else is saying stuff. And now I'm currently reading Metal Slinger. This is kind of a random one that, like, it's a fantasy series.
Did you add it because Kindle I added it?
Unlimited. Did you add it first?
I thought so.
I don't know.
Maybe we saw a TikTok or something.
But I was looking for a book that was easily accessible, and it's on Kindle Unlimited, and that's why I'm reading it. It's pretty good so far. It's kind of got like a different setting that is making it stick out a little bit more. So I'll keep reading and hopefully enjoying it, and that's where we're at.
Okay, so book updates done. Let's go ahead and get into our Costa Rica recap. And I must remind Megan, lest she forget, she had something she wanted to share on.
I already have been thinking about it.
This has been like in the back of her mind. She's been like, literally since this happened at the airport, she was like, don't let me forget
it's
to
not
bring some of the
that
podcast.
I don't know if it'll be that interesting, but like I need to say my piece about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we flew, instead of flying out of Des Moines, which I'm usually like, I love flying out of Des Moines. Okay, I really do. But we ended up flying out of Minneapolis to Liberia, Costa Rica. And at least that flight was nonstop, but it meant we had to drive to and from Minneapolis.
The flight was really, honestly, not that bad.
Right. It was a 5.5-hour flight or so, both ways. It was really quite manageable, especially Delta. I don't know if all Delta planes have this, but like it was like the nice planes with the screen on the back. I didn't really use it, but it always makes me feel better, and like I can really have some
decreases
options.
your anxiety levels of like,
I'm
what
like,
you can
I've got
do.
lots of entertainment options. Also, they have free Wi-Fi, which I couldn't get to work on the way there because I wasn't signed up for whatever they're supposed to be signed up for because I wasn't listening apparently. But on the way back, it actually did work. I only had like an hour left in my flight when I figured that out.
It was totally free.
I had to sign up for emails.
Did you unsubscribe?
But I think I've unsubscribed to stuff, so I haven't been bombarded with emails. So I'm kind of like, is this why people are like Delta people? Granted, out of Des Moines, like, which is where we usually fly out of, there's no loyalty to any airline, really. Like, maybe
you gotta get where you gotta get.
Anyways, so we are getting ready to fly out on Saturday morning from Minneapolis, and obviously there's other surrounding gates. There's a gate next to us. That flight is boarding and going to Mexico. So we're just sitting, hanging out. They're boarding in the middle of, doing that process, and I am all for, like, people, like, do what you want to do.
Get on when you want to get on.
I'm all for that. Like, if you are zone 1 and you don't want to get on until zone 8, last person in line, I don't care. Do what you want, because some people like to hang out rather than like just sitting on the plane. Whatever. I don't care. We were watching, and I'm kind of like, am I like understanding what's going on?
And what's funny
and
is
then like
it was me, Megan, and my mom. We were all like obviously there, like paying attention to our surroundings, but like none of us were talking.
kind of, like,
amongst
it's the
each
morning
other
right
about
now.
this.
We are just
You're just sitting, staring, observing.
in our own world. No one, like, we're not chatting with each other.
Yeah.
We're all just separately observing. And so there's this group of people. I don't know if they're like one family or like, I have no idea, but it was kind of a large group. And there's 2, I would say, like, teenagers. They seem like they were in high school or so. And they decide at this point for this flight, it's
All zones have been called.
all zones have been called. Like, you can board the plane.
And like no one's in line right now.
It's empty. The gate agents are simply like waiting for any and all passengers to get on the plane. And so then these 2 teenagers, they go and like, this is kind of like what made me like pay attention. They're going and they're scanning their boarding passes to get on the plane. And I'm going to say mom, because like I don't really know who she was in relation to them, but she seemed like she could have been their mom.
Elder woman
Yeah.
to them.
And like the 2 teenagers were kind of like, are you guys coming? Like, the plane is boarding. And then the mom figure was like, you just want to go, like, are you super excited to go sit and wait on the plane? And at that point I was like, they're boarding. Like, every zone and group has been called. You are who they are waiting for. They aren't magically waiting for any said time to be passed before they leave the gate. If all passengers are on the plane, they can leave. So what are you doing? I was just very confused. And then I was turning to Ciera and our mom to be like, are they literally just waiting? Because then it got to a point where it's like the gate agent is kind of like looking over at,
Like saying the announcement generally, but like side eyeing to like
them.
look at them.
being like, all passengers for this flight may board. And then they did board, and I was just like, I've never experienced or witnessed that in my life. So I thought that was odd. I thought I would share.
And like, did they technically do anything wrong? No, like the flight left on time when it was supposed to leave, but like it's just weird behavior.
Yeah. What else? Anything else like travel wise that was?
Traveling honestly went off without a hitch, I must say.
I will say, just generally speaking for our trip, before we like get into kind of like details of the itinerary, we opted to be like passenger princesses on this trip, and I was pleased with that decision. A lot of people when they go to Costa Rica will opt to like rent a car, but they do have a lot of shuttle services. And going back and forth with stuff, I was just like, I think with the group we're going with, me, Ciera, and our mom, I think it's going to be best if we are not in charge of doing the driving. The reason I say that are because these are like long travel days, okay? Like it was going to be, there's a 3-hour travel day when we first land. There's a 6-hour travel day, plus a ferry that I was not really keen to try and figure out, plus a 4-hour, like those are long travel days, okay? Second thing, I wasn't sure how our service was going to be when we were in Costa Rica, because that's always, you never know.
Surprisingly, it actually was pretty good.
It was pretty good. And then the last thing, I ended up finding out after the fact that like had I just been using Google Maps, I don't think there would have been an issue, but I don't generally keep Google Maps on my phone. I use Apple Maps because it's just on there. And Costa Rica, if you didn't know, they don't have traditional addresses. They usually they'll use like names of places, and that's about it. So that also kind of concerned me a little bit when I was like trying to think about getting from point A to point B. If I was putting point A to point B in Apple Maps, it literally wouldn't even give me directions. So then that kind of concerned me as well.
So all that to say is we opted to book like tourist
But
vans
honestly,
and stuff.
it was nice because it made it so that the travel days really weren't bad at all. We had like the vans we were shuttled in,
very roomy,
spacious, comfortable. So I have no complaints. I'm glad we did that. And yeah, we can kind of run through our itinerary. If you want like specific links to stuff, either like excursions we did, companies we booked with, I have it linked all in the video description of our vlog.
So we landed in Costa Rica around 11 or 12 their time. Had to go through customs and stuff. That one, it was like, you know, long, but it was easy. And then we went, it was hot when we landed. I was not like nervous, but I was like, oh my God, like it's hot here. And I was
Apparently
like wearing,
that's the warmest part of Costa Rica, we learned after the fact.
I was wearing like a sweatshirt and I had a tank top or something underneath and then like some longer pants. But like it's just the awkward, like I was in Minneapolis where it was cold. And so I need to be like warmish and like the plane's cold. So like I needed some layers there. But like now that I'm off the plane.
But now it's actually 100 degrees.
I'm sweating.
It's hot.
So, you know, it's whatever. Megan, the guy that was like directing us to the van, he had like a sign that said Megan Stitz on it.
I know. I was kind of like, I don't really know. Like, I know they're picking us up at the airport.
We
but
quite
like,
lit. Megan's like, I don't know how this works.
I kept saying, I'm not really sure. Like, I'm hoping just as much as you guys are. But I'm the one that was in charge of this, so I'm like more nervous than you guys are. I'm just hoping someone's there and picks us up. Especially because we used Airbnbs that didn't have like particular names per se. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these places, when they don't have directions, they ask for like the name of the place you're staying at. And then if you don't have that, then it's like send them the Google link, like the Google pin link. And I'm just like, this is all really making me nervous. It all ended up working out fine. The system,
I don't think we had any issues.
The system must work out okay.
Obviously, you know, they're used to it. They probably like, yeah, like it works. That's why we do it. But we're like, we're not used to this.
I'm not gonna trust this.
So what was your like sleep to like reading or other ratio for like this first travel day?
Oh gosh. Little to no reading. I felt like I was trying to sleep basically the whole 3-hour drive from the airport to the Airbnb. Because, like, I just knew I didn't get a lot of sleep the night before because we had to wake up super early. So I was trying my best to, like, replenish my tank a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I want to say, like, I was, like, a 50% sleep, 50% read. Like, I knew I fell asleep for, like, the first hour and a half, I think, on the flight. And then I read for most of the rest of the flight. And then I was kind of, like, in and out on the car ride. Because, like, sometimes you get sleepy. Then you wake back up. Then I got sleepy again.
We kind of came up with, I came up with the itinerary. I came up with the itinerary based off of feedback that I got from a friend who's been to Costa Rica a few times and her recommendations, as well as just general, like, when I was looking at places and trying to figure out, like, what cities would be good to hit. La Fortuna was probably one of the most popular ones that came up in terms of, like, if you want to do, like, the rainforest type of activities. Monteverde, the cloud forest, was another common city that I saw people going to for that stuff, but I was like, I'm only picking one, first of all, and second of all, La Fortuna seemed to have a little bit more variety, so I was kind of like, the more we can do in one spot, the better. So that's kind of how I picked that place. Once we got there, our first evening, we didn't have anything specific planned. We just decided we were gonna hang out, get our bearings, make sure we found the Airbnb, and, you know, kind of explore the town a little bit.
I gotta say, because it was like raining when we like got into town. I was like, I'm nervous.
Me too. And I was kind of like, I'm nervous for the whole trip now. Like,
I wasn't gonna
technically it was dry season, end of dry season when we went. And I already knew going on this trip, I was kind of like, you're going to a rainforest. Like, be ready for rain. Like, it's going to. But still, I was just like, when we were there, I was like, I'm nervous still because, like, just the things we're doing a lot of things outside. I don't want that to, like, put a damper on, you know, our experience with the things. But it was not that bad.
It really only rained.
It wasn't
like
bad at all. Like, I had no.
We were there. Like, it rained and we like were walking around to like, I think, a souvenir shop and to dinner and then back to our Airbnb. But like the next morning it was like sprinkling, drizzling, raining a little bit when we first got to, I guess we can start our like first day there. We used we used a company for like this tour that we did all day.
So they picked us up and it was us and like a group of, I don't know, 10 other people. And there were 3 different activities. We started at the Hanging Bridges, Mystico Park.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, I think looking back, because it was raining a little bit when we were doing that, but really, like, there's so much coverage from the trees that I really think no matter the weather, like, you're probably going to be fine. I was wearing my rain jacket up at first, and it was like, this really isn't bad because like you have so much coverage from the leaves. And then eventually like it wasn't raining as much, so I didn't have to keep my hood on the whole time. That ended up being, surprisingly, I was kind of surprised that was my favorite activity we did all day, because I was expecting to like some of the other things more, but that was actually a really cool experience.
It was fun because like the weather was nice. It wasn't super hot or anything. It was engaging, so it's like we had a tour guide that was like showing us around, pointing out different animals.
And our group that we were with was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Like,
it's, if you guys have ever done any sort of like, I don't know, like not even necessarily like an excursion thing like this, but like there's just random things in life where you get grouped with like strangers, you know, and the group can totally like make or break whatever activity it is that you're doing. We had a pretty good group. There was one dad who was like starting to get a little bit annoying towards the end because like literally every animal he saw, he was like, is that a whatever? Like there's a bird over there. And I was like,
it's a bird.
Okay, it's a bird. Relax. Like if you see a sloth, sure, like point it out. But like at this point, relax. It's just a bird. But everyone else was pretty chill for the most part. So the hanging bridges, there was 16 total bridges. Some of them were like the suspension-y type bridges.
Yeah, they were fun. They were
Kinda
rocking
like
back and
shaky.
forth.
Megan and I kept being annoying and being like, if our patients can do this, then they get to pass. They get to discharge home.
And then from there, we went to, it was a busy morning. It was a hefty morning and a long time to lunch, but it was all still good. But then we went to a hike near the Arnall volcano. You don't hike on the volcano. You hike around it and to a viewpoint where the previous, like they had an eruption in 1968. So you hike to where that lava flow is at. It was moderate. It was enough physically for me. I was like, okay, I hope we're almost to the top because
well, there got to be a point where he was like, okay, now it starts to get like rocky. Like this is where like the lava flow happened. So it started out like on a trail kind of, and then it was like a trail, but like a lot more rocky and a lot more like not elevation. It wasn't that much, but like you're just going uphill a little bit more. This one also is funny because it's like there were multiple guides like leading different groups and stuff. And one of the guides like came to our guide. He's like, hey, there's a snake or something back there. And he's like, do you guys want to go back? And everyone's like, yes,
and
yes,
I'm like,
yes.
no.
And I'm like,
no, please.
No.
Let's just keep going. But we circled back.
And like we were going for a little bit. I was like,
yeah,
I was like, I'm about to stop here and just wait for you guys because I don't care that much to see a snake.
It was just a little snake. But it was a teeny tiny snake.
Also, like every once in a while, they have like tarantulas in Costa Rica, and we never actually saw
we
one.
didn't see one.
But, like every once in a while, he'd be like, "Oh, is that like that's like a spider hole or something?" And I'd be like, "I quite literally, I'll back up. I don't want to see this. Like, if I see a tarantula, like I don't want to.
I'm gonna freak out." So we did that hike. That was about like a 2-hour ordeal. Our guide was saying that the volcano, it's typically covered in clouds, like so a lot of people don't end up seeing at the top of it. He said 30% of people, or like that's how many people like will be able to see like the full thing.
And like you might not have got 100% clearance,
but like I could through the cloud at the very
well.
tippy top, I could see the shadow of the top of the volcano. So like when we had done, like when we got to the lookout point, it had raised a little bit, but like it was
like
still pretty covered.
30% covered.
And then when we were hiking back, it really cleared up a lot and the clouds lifted a lot. So we got to see 95% of the volcano.
And when you're that close, you might as well call it 100.
From there, we went to lunch. Lunch was so
good. Probably
so
the
good.
best meal we had the entire trip. It was so good. The name escapes me of what they call like it's a traditional Costa Rican dish. I can probably you can describe it and I'll see if I can.
It's a variety of different things. So it was like you could get different meat, whatever meat you wanted. So we got chicken. They had like I don't know if it was
casado.
Casado
is what it's called.
We had like rice, beans, some veggies. They had like this potato type thing.
That was so
a plantain.
I don't like the plantain.
I thought it was fine. They had like a kind of a salady type of thing, but it was like their take on a salad.
Like 2 chips.
It was good. Like I devoured my whole plate.
It was so good. And then we had, I don't remember the names of the drinks they had us try. I didn't love the drinks.
Me either.
But it was fruity. I don't remember what fruits.
Mine tasted like a banana juice, which is interesting. I was like,
I don't remember what mine was. It was like, a couple steps I was like, oh, it's okay. And then it's like, I'm just not really reaching for it. And like, I'll just get my water.
From there, our last thing that we did for that tour was going to the La Fortuna waterfall. It's a very touristy waterfall, but it's an amazing waterfall.
Hold on. I must say, and this was all over Costa Rica, wherever we went, your guys' bathrooms, if we have any Costa Rican viewers, which I think we might have a few because I got some comments on my Instagram like saying I was in their country. You guys have such well-maintained bathrooms and like outdoor sinks.
Yeah.
Which is like so necessary. So I just have to shut you guys out. Because like you think of, anytime there's like a bathroom like by a beach or something, like literally anywhere in the US, you're like, ugh, like it's gross. And you just accept that. So like that was my like going into the bathroom. I was like, oh no, like I have to go to the bathroom. But then I was like, oh, it's kind of nice in here.
Yeah.
So, and I appreciate clean things. So that was nice. But the waterfall, like it was very touristy. Like there's a restaurant there.
There's an admissions thing. Our tour, part of like us paying for the tour, it covered all of our admissions to these different things. So that was at least nice. We saw a sloth when we were going to the waterfall.
There's also so many dogs just like wandering around. There was one dog at the water. There's actually 2 dogs at the waterfall. But like one like brought a stick up to Megan for her to throw.
And I did, and then the entire stick broke and
then it just ran away.
So for that waterfall, there's like 500 steps that you have to do to get down to it, to access it. What was cool was there was a lookout. So there's kind of like a lookout point for you to like be able to see the waterfall before you got on the stairs. And that was really cool
too. We didn't do the zip line, but like they had zip lines kind of like at that same height of the waterfall.
I have done zip lining before, and I just like it doesn't scare me, but I don't care enough to be like, I'm going to pay $150 to go do this zip line. So I was like, I just don't want to. I'd rather pay for something else. But you could see people like going and doing it by the waterfall, which is cool. Then we got on the steps. There were a lot of steps down, but down is not the hard part. Up is the hard part. The water was freezing.
Also, hold on, pause. Because when we were like this whole day, we were wearing hiking boots for the first activities because like obviously we're like actually doing more hiking. And for the stairs, I was like, oh, like we kind of changed because we didn't have our swimsuits on. And I was like, should I put my like flip-flops on or should I like keep my hiking boots on? Like 400 stairs is a lot of stairs. Like what's the situation here? And they're quite literally like just like regular stairs. You could wear any shoes
I more so just didn't want to like have to worry about carrying my hiking boots. So that's why I didn't change out of my hiking boots.
That's true.
But they're literally like they're stairs. So there's a couple different sides. Like there's like the waterfall part, which they were allowing people to swim in that portion of it, but it was kind of like I didn't really want to do that. And the water's freezing. So I got my photos and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to like the more calm portion. I really only got up to my knees because it was freezing. The water was freezing. And I'm not someone that like I'm not like a dunk and, move on with my day. Like even if it's just like, oh, just a dunk and then you can get out. I just can't do that. After that, we were shuttled back to our hotel.
Well, no, I feel like we forgot a funny story at the waterfall. You were getting photos. What did you do?
So I was wearing flip-flops because I was like, I don't need to bring a separate pair of water shoes
also,
on this trip.
If you guys, truly, if we would have recorded, like, what we did to get these photos, like, it wasn't crazy, but, like, it was effort.
Rocks. It was effort, but, like
and I went and got the G7X, and I didn't want to drop it in the water, so, like, Megan was like, oh,
my dry bag
came with a phone cover. I had to squeeze the G7X, which is much thicker than phone, into the plastic bag
thing.
And so then I was going down with that so then I could go in like the water / rocky area to the waterfall to get these photos. Mm-hmm. And then Megan, you can continue.
Anyway, so I had gotten my photos and I was like, okay, Ciera, let's switch out. And the flip-flop that I was wearing when I was taking a step, the water swept it off of my foot and off it went. The water's pushing it down the river. I wouldn't say river, but like it was floating. So I was like, okay. And there was a spot where it was like there's a log before kind of another drop. And I was like, maybe that log will hold it. And my mom's, she's there too. She sees what's going on and
she was
we're all trying to stop it. And then I was like, the log kind of held it for a second. I was like, okay, it's staying. Hurry up, Mom. And then it went over again.
Talking,
but then I was kind of thinking like it really slows down quite a bit after that second drop. And like there's still a lot of people
I thought someone would
in that area. And someone did grab it. Our mom went and when she said she came around the corner and like
Someone's
someone
waving
was
a flip-flop.
waving a flip
They're
flop.
like, someone will be here.
Which thank God, because like my flip flops were also like my sandal for the trip. So I was like, I'm gonna have to buy a new pair of flip flops. That sucks. I did not
I had
have
a pair
to.
of flip-flops because I had flip-flops and Birks. So you could have worn mine. If you had to.
But yeah, that was the waterfall. The trip back up, it was hard, but we did it.
And then they took us back to our Airbnb, dropped us off. And that was basically it for the night.
Yeah. There are Ubers in La Fortuna, but like in other cities in Costa Rica, I don't think they're very.
Hot Springs.
Yeah, they're not very common. But we were able to use an Uber to get from our Airbnb to. They have a bunch of different hot springs. They have natural hot springs as well. And just in my debating of going back and forth, like I heard some things. You have to keep in mind, like we are still like 3 girls going to a foreign country, and I just heard some things about like, you know, the evening scene, just to be a little bit careful. So I was like, I think we just don't
go
do
for
that,
the hotel.
and we go to the hotel. So that's what we did. There's also lots of different options for hotels, and I think there's probably like, I don't want to say like, there's variable prices. Okay.
Tiers.
And I think we probably would have done a different one had we booked in advance. But the purpose of us, I wasn't sure what day we were going to want to do this, if we were going to want to do it. So Bali Hot Springs, the pro of that one is like they don't take reservations. You just go up and you can get a day pass. So that's what we did. It worked out for us.
We did dinner there. Dinner was good. Their dessert was really good. And I was needing a dessert. I was like, it's been too long since I've had a sweet treat. I didn't get, you know, like when we were at the shops and stuff the day before, I was like, is there any sweet treat I can get? As we were like heading home from dinner, I couldn't find anything. And I had like a cinnamon roll for dinner or for breakfast, but it wasn't enough. So I got 2 like little mini chocolate cake things. And then they had so many hot spring options.
Yeah, it was kind of ridiculous. Like
it was
probably
like
like
a
20 plus. There was no way we could have gone to them all. We just honestly stayed at one because, like, no offense, but what's the difference between all of them? So yeah, that was kind of our day in La Fortuna, and then we had a travel day the next day.
And Megan's like, our driver will be picking us up at
5:30 in the morning. So this was the longest travel portion of the trip, and I was kind of like, this could be a doozy, but really, like, having done it, it was honestly broken up very well. So we got picked up at 5:30. So technically this we did was a shared shuttle, but we had like an hour and 45 minutes by ourselves. The van took us from our Airbnb to a different town, where we then joined up at a different van and joined up with some other people who were also going to Santa Teresa. And then we drove in that van for like a little over an hour and a half. So at that point, like, that's not too bad. Like, that's pretty manageable. It was also like super early in the morning, so I was sleeping. And then from there, we get on a ferry. I was kind of nervous about like how this transition was going to happen because up until that point, our shuttle drivers, like most of the people we'd been interacting with, like could speak English fairly well. And this guy, like, I was like, he could not.
Like any English.
And I was like, and this is no fault to you. Like, I am in your country, but like, I'm not sure how this ferry transfer is working. So, but he ended up just handing us like the tickets that we needed. And
we just followed people.
Walked on and
showed our ticket.
The ferry to get to the peninsula.
So nice.
Very, very nice. That was honestly like, that also really, really helped the trip. Just like,
yes. Because it feels like you're just like in a room. So like
we were able to get a pop. We were kind of just like hanging out, relaxing, enjoying the views because you're, you know, on the water. And so, and I could also see, because La Fortuna is a rainforest, so it's like cloudier. Just like as we were traveling and like getting towards the beach town, I was like, the weather is so nice right now. And so I was looking forward to that as well, because I was like, it's nice to see some sun.
And then pulled up. We're like, I guess we just look for a van that has the same logo as the one we were just at. And it worked. We saw the same people that we had been in the van with before also meet up at that van. I was like, okay, we must be in. We're all together. Mm-hmm. And like our driver took a picture of us, so I think that was for like
the guy on the other side.
The other guy to identify us, because I was like, what is going on? And so that's what I can only assume is what was happening.
So then that last shuttle was another hour and a half to 2 hours. I don't know at this point. And I had been in communication with our second Airbnb host because like our check-in time wasn't originally supposed to be until 4. And I was like saying we were probably going to be there between 12 and 1. And then he was kind of like, okay, well, you could drop your bags off, but like I don't know if it's going to be ready. Thank God, because we showed up at like 12:30. Thank God we got there, and the housekeeper was
I
kind
just
of like
needed to like reset for a second.
And they were basically done. So he was like, if you guys don't mind, and the housekeeper's just like finishing up, then like you can stay here.
I don't mind at all.
I loved our second Airbnb. It was great. Our host was great, and I will say, I'd have to like look at like the Airbnb options again. So we were staying. There's kind of a bunch of different like towns in that coastal area. So like Santa Teresa is probably like the most famous one. It's kind of like the biggest town, and it's very touristy. And we were technically staying in Malpai or something of that nature. And it's not right in town. And I'm kind of like, do I regret not staying right in town versus not? And I'm not 100% sure. We didn't get an ATV or anything. So like we were kind of limited with transportation by like the taxis that they have there, which was like fine enough. We didn't have any issues like scheduling and getting the taxis.
The benefit, and obviously like if we would have picked a different Airbnb, like we wouldn't have had the same amenities as the one we had.
That's what I'm thinking.
But I think second day that we were there was when we like really killed like the layout of the day. I think first day we were kind of like,
we're like, how do we maximize? Like we're outside of town like quite a bit. Like it's not going to be walking distance.
We'll talk through and then I can say why I preferred our like last full day compared to our second full day or whatever it was. But anyway, we were only in Santa Teresa that first day for half the day because we were traveling the whole first half. So we went into town. We used one of the taxi people that Megan was in a WhatsApp group with. And I think we just went and got dinner. And then we came back.
And we got groceries.
Yes. And then, where did we get dinner from?
Eat Street?
Yes. And then we came back to our Airbnb. And then we could walk to a beach. Like from our Airbnb. That was just like not as
It was very
popular.
rocky. I mean, it's not like no one was there. So like privacy was good. And we did meet the cutest dog. Mm-hmm. So like that was a pro as well.
And we got there like kind of late. The sun was
the
setting
water
anyways.
was incredible.
Water was so nice.
Like Costa Rica is going to be like the water's wavy. It's known for surfing and stuff. So like keep that in mind. You're probably not gonna have like the best swimming beaches ever. At least not like where we were at. But like the water was nice. It was warm, which I appreciate a lot.
And then sun started setting. We went back to our Airbnb, and I loved like our little nights. Mm-hmm. Like we had a nice projector. I did end up forgetting to log into my Disney Plus, so whoops. But we just turned on some Criminal Minds, and that was like our nightly routine. Was like we'd watch Criminal Minds, and like Megan and I would read. I think our mom had like some games that she was playing on her iPad, and we would just do that until it was time to go to bed.
I hope my eye looks okay, you guys. It's like
it kind of looks like you're like crying a little bit.
I know it feels like I'm crying.
Anyway,
so then allergies are getting worse.
First full day, we did end up getting pancake mix from the store. So we did breakfast at the Airbnb, made our own pancakes, and then we were like, okay, let's go to a beach. This one we also walked to again, but it was a different direction, slightly different beach. UV was high. It's, morning. Megan and I mean, our mom too, but like more so Megan and I were like, we do not want to get burnt. I don't know like what trip it was specifically. I mean, I'm a little bit jaded from the US Virgin Islands. Like even last year, you and me and Maggie did not do a great job. Like one of our, like our second day there or something maybe where it's like, I got burnt. And like every time I get burnt, I'm like, how could I do this to myself? How could I let this happen? And so this time around, I was like, I am not getting burnt. Like I refuse to.
Like any tan I get is going to be like happenstance.
Yeah.
For being in the sun.
So Megan and I were like, we're going to post up here in the shade. Our mom's like, sun goddess. Like she's like pulling up, facing the sun. Every time, like when someone positions themselves so they're facing the sun, I'm like, oh, you're in it. Like you're here. Like if I was like going to be in the sun, I'd still like face the water. She was like, the sun's the other way. Yeah. I'm going to face the direction. So, obviously we still like put sunscreen on and stuff, but I was trying to like, I'd move my chair back when the sun was coming up.
I was like, the sun is taking over my shaded space.
And like give us a chance to do some reading. It was nice. We had like a few things that we packed for like snacks and drinks and stuff that we had gotten at the store the day before. And then around lunchtime or something, we were like, okay, it's time to go back to the Airbnb. So we went home, kind of cooled off a little bit. And then what did we do for lunch?
We ordered.
Second day.
They do have some places that do delivery.
Oh, yeah.
WhatsApp is like, that's what they do there. So that's how I was communicating with the restaurant that I found that does delivery. And we ordered food to the Airbnb. The reason being, like, it was either going to cost us money to go into town and then also on the way back. And then we also weren't sure if we were going to be doing a bigger or longer taxi ride later. So I was trying to minimize what we were spending on taxis. So we just ordered food to the Airbnb, which was good. And then allowed us to have like a time to hang out at the pool and enjoy that and do some reading and stuff. And then we did our horseback riding excursion that day as well. So we went to, I think the city's like something along the lines of like Manzillo or something of the sort. But it was like a 30-minute drive.
It felt
north.
like longer than 30 minutes. It felt like the longest car ride ever. I don't know about you, but I was like, where are we going? Horseback riding. This is where I need to talk to you guys about this.
This is like, we need to be real.
So I know I've ridden a horse before. Not very often, maybe like twice in my life.
Thank God. Their most popular thing is 3 hours. Thank God.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're getting on. Don't have any issue, like, getting on the horse. I'm not afraid of horses or anything. And they're like, okay, giving us the rundown of like instructions, how to make them start, how to make them stop, how to kind of control them a little bit. I don't have any issue with that. We start going. They're like walking pretty slow. And like when they start going faster, like they start to bounce more. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, ow, this is kind of uncomfortable. Like just, I have a bony butt. And so like
really bony
my butt was starting to hurt. If you ever taken a spin class or a cycling class, or if like you ride bikes for long periods of time, especially like if you are just like getting started and you're new, you know the feeling I'm talking about when it's like you have like these 2 bruises on like both of your butt bones. I was like, I could feel it forming already as I'm riding on this horse.
That was biggest issue. No, yeah, my knees. That's what you think that was worse, right?
No, my side ache.
Oh,
which is weird.
There's layers to this, you guys. So I don't know if it was like these foot straps. What are those, stirrups? Maybe they should have been adjusted differently. I don't know, but like that was not my job, and I was gonna adjust them. But the outside of my knees could not have hurt worse. Like because I was like, if I was more comfortable, I feel like I could like push up through my legs a little bit more to help mitigate how painful it is to like be bouncing up and down when the horse is like doing its trotting. But like anytime I put weight through my feet to like try and lift myself up, like my knees were killing me. And so I was just like, I am so uncomfortable. This was like a 2-hour ordeal.
No, literally.
So, it was fine when we were just like walking, but then like there was the girl who was doing like the leading of the tour, and then there's a guy who was leading the back,
and the cowboy
he was making sure the horses were keeping up a good pace. I so badly wanted to just be like,
sir, please
don't make my horse start trotting. Like, I can't do this anymore. But like, no, you got a certain time to keep up.
I started, weirdly enough, getting the worst side ache of my life. Like when you're like running and you're getting a side ache, that is exactly how I felt. But like, I can't control it. Like the horse is going, and for whatever reason, like the faster the horse is going, like the worse my side ache is getting. And
it's like you're doing the work.
I know. I was like, I thought I'm not even doing. I mean, I know I'm doing something because like horseback.
It certainly felt like a workout. Like it really did.
But like then like the cowboy would come and be like, speed up, and I was like, no, the faster he goes, the worse my side ache gets. Like please stop. And so like I was very ready to be done when our time was up.
Mm-hmm. Nothing against the tour. The tour was great. It was lovely. We were doing it at sunset.
And they had these 2 dogs. I don't know who's like, if it was like the cowboy's dog or the girl's dog. I don't know. But like so they just follow along. They will run on the beach. They'll run to the water. They'll come back to us. Like just
the
like
Costa
Rican dogs. Just like we're crazy.
Yeah. So well behaved.
I know.
Like,
and
really,
I just know that they like don't even try to like train them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It just is.
And like
I was saying,
all the dogs,
all these dogs are very
on,
pura vida. That's just like the way of life.
All the dogs like riding on like the ATVs and like the bikes and stuff. Like they just hop on and like ready to go. It's crazy.
Second day. Well, that was
this is when I feel like we had like peak. This is our peak day of like we figured out as far as like timing everything. We found a breakfast place. This was like it was good and bad.
So this was like going back and forth to because we were out of town. Our places to eat were limited. We didn't get enough pancake mix for 2 mornings.
No, we were stupid.
And so there was a hotel close enough that has a restaurant.
And it's like
I was like
11
minute walk.
Okay.
I didn't tell you guys this, but I did see stuff being like, this has like a steep road to.
You didn't even say anything.
I was like, we'll be fine.
Oh my God. Mom, if she listens to this.
It was a steep road, you guys. Like it was a steep road.
Ridiculous.
But it's amazing, but 15 minutes later, there we are from our Airbnb to this. I mean, the thing is, it was up high. So the views were amazing once we got up there, but we had to walk up there. We didn't have like an ATV or anything. And so I don't remember. Oh, it was Casa Chameleon is the hotel that
it was honestly like the most perfect like little pancake stack I could have asked for. It was like just 3 pancakes, some fruit, and some syrup.
So we had breakfast there, which was good because it was nice and close and we got a nice view and we didn't have to spend money on a taxi. So I was pleased with that.
We got our workout in, that's for sure.
Then we went back down to our Airbnb. We did a kind of morning into
this is why I think
afternoon.
I like this order of how we did things. Because like our Airbnb was like obviously like we have our pool, but like we had more shade options than if we were at a beach or something. And like I was like half in the shade. I'd go in the pool, like, you know, put sunscreen on,
and we had
do
some
that whole
snacks
thing.
still from groceries.
We had our music that we were playing. Like, it was just like a solid morning of like, you know, enjoying our books, swimming, whatever. And then come lunchtime, it's like, okay, now we're gonna get geared up to go into town for lunch, and then we're gonna go to the beach. Mm-hmm. And that was the way to do it because we went to Banana Beach Club. This is probably such a popular destination. Like I'm sure us shouting it out is not like,
but we had no idea.
Some hidden gem. But like our taxi driver, we were like, we want to go to the beach, and he was like, oh, like this one. And I was like, okay. He pulls up and there's like just like this archway, and I was like, can we go down here?
I know. I was like, I don't know if we can go through here, but we'll try.
So we walked down.
It seemed private, but like it's because it was part of this beach club, but like anyone can go to it.
Yeah.
So
like there's a restaurant. And so we ate at the restaurant there. It's like super
vibes
shaded,
and aesthetic.
Like,
amazing.
It was amazing. Like couldn't ask for anything better.
And I do think that like they also had a bunch of like they had a couple not cabanas, but like they had some day beds. They had some like
and like I don't even know if that costs money.
I know. I think that you could just like do that, although you'd probably have like the expectation of like ordering drinks
like
and
we
stuff.
didn't use any of those because I was again not sure if it did or did not cost money, but I was like, I don't really mind laying down on the beach. And by this point, it's like early afternoon. Like the UV is lower.
Afternoon and evening. I honestly like that was such a peak time, but like I feel like the evenings were like almost non-existent. Like why was the sun setting so soon?
No, that's what I was gonna say. It's because the sun sets so soon.
Because I really like it. Definitely gets way busier. Just like the surfers that are out, the people that are on the beach, it gets way busier in the evening because it's more bearable to be outside. But I was just like, it seems like it's going by so quick. The sun sets at like 6:00.
So we were posted up doing some more reading, enjoying, like Meg and I went for a walk on the beach a little bit. Water was very warm. And then we decided to pick up dinner and just bring it back to the Airbnb. We went to Pronto, which was like a pizza
Which was another
place.
good vibe to just like, that was our last evening. And so it was good to be able to like pack up and just shower and get things situated.
And that was it. And then we woke up bright and early the next day. Took a 4-hour drive to the airport.
And home we went.
And that was it. Pretty uneventful. We did get home at 1 a.m. Friday morning. And then Meg and I proceeded to work the following day. But we lived to tell the tale.
But we saved a day of PTO in our bank. So we'll take it.
And honestly, like it ended up working out. Because you and I both like had short days even. So it's like, it was worth it.
It was. That was our trip.
So hope you guys enjoyed hearing some of the behind the scenes. If you have ever been to Costa Rica, like let us know where you went, if you had any similar experiences. Or, you know, not that Meg and I will be going on vacation to another country anytime soon, but
where have been your favorite places you've gone to?
Give us some ideas.
All right.
I think that's all we've got for you guys.
We will talk to you guys next Thursday.
Bye.
Bye.